Hey guys, it's Rory with searchinchao.com and you join me in the beautiful Barcelona where I just came back from the Oppo Innovation event. Now they talked about a lot of cool things there. They talked about the future, they talked about how they were going to invest $1.5 billion into research and development for the year of 2019. They talked about 5G and how that could potentially change the way we use smartphones. And then they talked about the third thing, which was probably the most interesting one to me, and that is 10 times lossless zoom on a smartphone. So 10 times lossless zoom, we've seen this teased over social media quite a lot now, and in fact during the last Mobile World Congress where Oppo showed off their camera technology, their camera innovation, it was a 5 times lossless zoom with a pretty similar concept to this one. But this time they've upgraded it a bit. So here is the camera module. Let's break it down. So it's a triple camera module, much like what you'd find on, say, a Huawei Mate 20 Pro. You've got the first one, which is the ultra wide angle camera or ultra wide angle lens. So this has a equivalent focal length of about 16 millimeters, so it's pretty wide. And then you've got the main wide angle sensor, which is the one you probably use most of the time for regular photos. So this is a 48 megapixel sensor. And then you have the third one, which is a Periscope designed telephoto lens. So Periscope, that means that the sensor is actually mounted perpendicularly to the direction in which the light comes in. So the light comes in through the sensor like this. Here's my graphics. It comes in like this, and then it's reflected through a prism to the sensor, which is here. So this camera module is this intricate sort of prism periscope design. That is actually something that they've been working on for quite a while. We saw it for the first time during their 5x lossless zoom demo, and we're seeing it again now for the 10x one. So we've taken it up the notch. It's not just 5x anymore, it's 10x, and I gotta say it's pretty impressive. So let's go into the detail with each camera module, because I actually got to try out a sample or an engineering sample unit that they have at the demo, and honestly I was quite impressed. So we'll start with the ultra wide angle. So this is a 16 millimeter equivalent focal length. I almost said 16 megapixel. We don't know how many megapixels this one is because Oppo hasn't revealed that information just yet. So this ultra wide angle is pretty standard, something that you'd expect from most of the flagships out right now. It is 120 degrees field of view, so that is pretty much on par with what you find from Huawei, with what you find from LG. So you give this really wide sort of perspective, which I think is really cool, really versatile. My favorite dual camera setup in the past. And then you move on to the next one, which is this main 48 megapixel sensor. So 48 megapixels, that sounds a lot like the Huawei Nova 4, the one that launched in China, and then there's the View 20 from Honor, and then even the Redmi Note 7. I think it could be the same, but then again they didn't tell us these details, so I don't have those specs or that information for you right now. And then with the third one, which is the Periscope telephoto lens. So this lens, when you imagine zooming in, even on a camera, right, the biggest problem with zooming in really far is handshake, because when it's so telephoto, every little movement makes a big difference at the other end. So what happened was they built in optical image stabilization into that module, so that prism that reflects the light, that actually can sort of do the OIS, where it will reduce handshake blur, so that even at 10x you're still getting a pretty steady shot, which I have to say, upon trying it, I'm blown away with how steady it is. It's really, really impressive how steady it is. The only other phone that I've seen like reasonably that steady, or that even comes close to how steady this telephoto zooming is on the Huawei Mate 20 Pro, but even that is like not really the same. I would say that Oppo's really done like a pretty cool thing here. So before I get into image quality, there's actually one thing that I was very curious about. At which point does each camera kick in? So I did a little experiment. I sort of covered each camera as I went through the zoom range so that I could figure out which one kicked in at where. So at 1x you have the ultra wide angle. So that is your main sort of super wide angle shot, the 120 degree field of view. And then as you zoom in, once you hit 2x, you switch to the 48 megapixel main wide angle sensor. So that will take you all the way up to about 8x zooming before it switches over to the Periscope telephoto lens. So that means the Periscope telephoto lens only kicks in at about 8 times zoom, and from there until all the way up to 20 times you'll be using that sensor. But now I think the most important thing that we are all curious about is image quality. Now before I talk about my opinion on what the image looks like, let me just tell you that these are engineering samples. These are like not final production units. So anything could change in the post-processing, in the way the smartphone actually digests the data that the camera receives. All of that could change, but from what I've seen in the demo zone with these demo units, I have to say I'm pretty impressed, especially at 10 times. The amount of detail that you can get is truly unrivaled. I have tried with the iPhone 10. I took a sample shot of the iPhone 10 at 10 times and compared it to the Oppo's 10 times zoom solution, and honestly the difference is really night and day. I'm really impressed with how steady they managed to keep everything even at 10 times optical zoom. Like, I could see the thing was really far away, but it was still holding very steady. That said, it is not impervious to handshake, because I did take a couple of shots and they did feel a bit shaky. And if you do push past 10 to that, push past the lossless 10x into sort of like 20x, where it's like you lose some quality for like some digital cropping in, the image quality does suffer quite a lot, but it is still pretty impressive even at that range. But the sweet spot, yes, 10 times, those photos look really solid. And if you look at the photos that is probably appearing right now, you can see that there's actually foreground blur. So you can tell that that is because of the lens and not because of just digitally zooming in. The only downside about using the zoom is that you can't focus very close. So the focal distance is actually quite far away, so you won't be able to like pick up something that's like within your arm's length. It has to be something quite far away, otherwise it won't be in focus. So now the final thing, and that has to do with aesthetics. I know a lot of you don't care about aesthetics, but you know, I kind of do. And if it's going to be a premium flagship smartphone, then that's something you're going to have to consider. And honestly, the thing that I was also very impressed with this 10 times solution was the size. So the thickness of the smartphone. The module itself is 6.67 millimeters, I believe. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But it's 6.67 millimeters. That's really slim even by smartphone standards. So we all remember the last time we had this sort of optical zooming periscope design camera, and that was on the first Asus Zenfone Zoom. That was a pretty thick phone. They sort of masked the thickness by curving the edges a lot so that you have a thin edge. But this one, the demo unit that they showed off, the whole phone was pretty much flat, and yet it wasn't much thicker than the Oppo R17 Pro. So the fact that it has a case on and it was still like about the same thickness as the Oppo R17 Pro, like that really impresses me. So that means this could mean that the phone, when it actually comes out, will not be this huge chunky thing. It would be this portable smartphone that you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference from any other regular smartphone, but then your phone will have that 10 times zoom. But now here's the problem with innovation showcases or technology showcases. The last time we saw something like this from the 5x optical zooming, we never saw it make its way onto a commercial smartphone. You couldn't buy a phone with this kind of technology. But with this 10 times lossless zoom, Oppo says that they will be putting it into a smartphone and it will come out. And in fact, they've even given us a time frame, and that is Q2 of this year. Q2 of this year, we will see a brand new smartphone from Oppo with this triple camera setup and 10 times lossless zoom. I'm psyched and I'm totally ready to check out how it actually looks in real life. And yeah, let me know if you're psyched too in the comments below. Oh, and before I end the video, there was this like one tidbit that I spotted with the engineering or the demo unit. Even though it was all blacked out and stuff and I couldn't tell like what phone it was or what it was going to look like, the thing that I was like pretty psyched about was actually the operating system or the OS. So you know that all Oppo phones use Color OS, right? And that's like this app drawerless, almost like iPhone kind of nightmare, which I really am not a fan of. But honestly, the operating system that was on those demo units was so much better. So if I pull down the notifications tab, you get these huge beautiful icons that you can tap to toggle the switches. And then guess what? It has an app drawer. You can swipe up and there's an app drawer there. Oh, why isn't the current Color OS like that? I will never know, and I don't even know if this will actually make it onto the phone that they're launching in Q2 of this year. I hope it does, because if it does, I think that would make the Oppo experience for me just so much better. I'm so looking forward to that. Please, please, please put that app drawer in Color OS. I will be so thankful. And yeah, okay, so that's it for this side note, and I will end the video here. So let me know what you think of the 10x optical zoom in the comments below, or you know, you can leave us a message or whatever. Don't forget, in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and click that notification bell icon next to the YouTube subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future videos. There will be a lot coming your way because we are here in Barcelona for Mobile World Congress 2019, and a lot of videos, a lot of phone launches, a lot of mobile news. Oh, I'm so excited. This is like day -1, and yet there's like so much excitement going on. Okay, in the meantime, check out our latest video over here and a special video over here. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!